she must rise with a little help from grace. What's this life we're living in, full of selfish sin? What's this life we're living in, full of selfish sin? Patience, patience. By His grace, oh, by His grace. She's living day to day with a baby on the way, in a country where she must stay, no home to pray. What's this life we're living in, full of selfish sin? What's this life we're living in, full of selfish sin? Patience, patience. By His grace, oh, by His grace, by His grace, oh, by His grace.
And that was Joe Borowsky with By His Grace. Joe, we got some chat going on in the chat room. High Voltage wanted to say it was a lovely song with deep meaning. I'm glad that we got to hear the story behind the song. And they want to know, are most of your songs about personal experiences or sharing of a collection of stories about others?
That's a good question, actually. My form of music, a lot of times, well, in that case, that song, and I remembered while I was listening to that song, By His Grace was her nickname online, and I asked her what that meant, and she told me it meant help from God. I don't know if that's true or not, but I remembered that while I was listening to that, and that's why I thought that was kind of fitting for that song. When I have experiences like that, and I'm sure a lot of musicians, maybe yourself as well, being a musician at one point there and still, that when you have kind of like something that's kind of on your mind a lot, it's almost as if it's a therapeutic way to write it down. So that's, so one form of my music is I write down what's on my mind. If something, if something's been bothering me, or if something great has happened, anything, if it's deep and it's on my mind, I write it down, and it kind of usually forms into a song. And then I do write songs where there's a situation where I might be really wanting to write about, and I'll make a story up about that situation. and then a song forms from that, and I put myself in those perspectives of the story. So that's usually how most of my songs are developed.
Okay. Yeah, you know, it's funny because it seems like when inspiration hits you, you just can't get away from it either. You know, you end up having to write the song whether you want to or not.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that song itself there, the reason, and again, it's not a real popular song, probably because it's not what you'd say a very happy song. It's even the sound of it is very kind of deep and almost depressing in a way. But that song was, you know, I laid in bed for hours, bothered by this woman who had told me her story about very personal experience that she had gone through. She was pregnant, and she was, you know, not intending to be pregnant. Let's just say that, and you know. So things that were happening in her life, and it bothered me so much that I got up about 2 or 3 in the morning and just wrote. I had to write, and then I was able to sleep. It's very odd, but I'm sure you can relate to that. But it's just it's one of those things where you have to write out what's on your mind, otherwise you just keep stewing about it, right? So, and yeah.
That's right. You know, for us musicians, writing the songs is part of our therapy.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, and a lot of people who. You know, there's art therapy, music therapy, and stuff like that out there, and I think it's really beneficial, and unfortunately, it's one of those areas of education that gets overlooked a lot, right, is the music and the arts, and it's too bad because it really does help a lot of kids get through a lot of stuff, so.
That's very true. So I was noticing on your songs, too, I hear harmonization, so I'm assuming that you're harmonizing with yourself?
Yeah, there's a couple songs. Actually, my first album, there was a lot of that, and I did that mostly because it was just an acoustic, me and my acoustic only, no other sound, really no other sound effects and things like that. So a lot of times I just overdub my voice so that it's a stronger sound. In some of my newer stuff, it's going to be one voice, but I do like to do harmonics. I've always liked that, especially even when I was in school and I was younger, we did a lot of that. So.
Yeah, I find it really intriguing to listen to harmony. In some of the bands I've been in, we would make sure that we had, you know, several songs that had a lot of harmony in it because it just, I don't know, to me it just completes the song even more.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because you can make so many different sounds out of it, right? So it makes it for a bigger sound to it, in my opinion. But again, if you have too much going on, it can get a little bit. It can become too much of a sound, like a large sound. So in my newer stuff that I'm working on, I'm trying to add some other things to the music, like sound effects and strings and things like that. So that way I don't have to do so many harmonics that way.
Right. Now when you add those, are you going to be using like a keyboard to get those sounds, or?
Some of it would be keyboard. I actually did play cello when I was younger. In the art school I went to, and I would love to pick one of those up and actually add some of that because the actual instrument itself gives a much bigger sound as well, right? And it's more you know, anything when you have it electronic, they can get as close as they can to it, but it's never as real as it sounds if it's an actual
right. Right. Yeah. I think that'd be awesome if you had some cello in your music. It's got such a deep, you know, full sound to it. That'd really be a compliment to your songs.
Yeah, absolutely, and add bass to it too, right? So.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well let's keep moving on with your songs. We have another one, In Memory of the Forgotten. Would you like to tell us the story behind that?
Sure. That one was during